Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 24th, 2022 at approximately 9:51 a.m. PST. Well, things are moving along. I do have a tendency of starting that a lot that way, don't I? Anyway, I was looking at this whole concept of turning this world around. Okay, now I was returned to this planet, sent back here, if you will, or cast back down, call it what you will. This lifetime, I came in with one very simple instruction. Pass on a word to you, to everybody in existence, that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually all people. Now, I've been looking at the financial side of things, and I laid out a little while ago my plan for my own contribution to this thing. Now, do understand, I am not talking about, when I'm talking about helping people, I am not talking about putting yourself on the street to do it. In a nutshell, look at what it costs you to run your household or to run your business, or in all fairness, both. Once you've covered that cost, then you take a look at your actual net profit and take 10% of that to help the people with less. Now, I was looking at it, and there are many companies, many corporations, and many people that claim to help that claim to try and help the shall we say, harder pressed. Okay. And yet, we have still got a staggering level of problems. Now, I was looking at it this morning, and the amount of excess money being generated by some people. We take a look at, and I don't have anything against the people that are making a lot of money. I have a problem with the people that are making a lot of money, treating people like garbage, or worse, saying they're doing one thing and going back completely against it. Now, when you're looking at net profit, this is, the backbone of any household, of any business, is your bottom line. It really is. Okay, and, I'm not materialistic by any stretch. Well, guess you could stretch it far enough, but when you look at net profit, that's after all of your baseline expenses are covered, which means your rent or your mortgage, any leases that you have, any of your entertainment, your utilities, your investments for your own retirement, and anything that has to do with, making sure you've got your savings in place, a little bit for entertainment. Okay, but what I'm seeing is there are some companies and some people that have a staggering amount of profit coming in that they are just holding on to for whatever reason. Now, one of the biggest problems I run into with that is that people, many corporations, and let's understand something. A company, a household is a company, as is any of the businesses out there. Your house, when we're talking small neighborhood groceries, your neighborhood restaurants, these are businesses. Okay, so are the major players, the major research centers. Politics itself is a corporation, as is, now I don't know by legal definition, but as are the religious sections. Okay. Now, I was looking, and I'm wondering if I left it up, so I'm going to see if I did. If I did, there's an interesting piece of information I came across. I'm hoping I left it up. Where are we? Here we are. What am I looking for? Gotta be back one. I'm looking at another computer screen, by the way. And we are looking right now, when we start looking at this whole issue, okay, when you're looking at the major corporations, including the church, by the way, there is so much profit being used. That means profit, that is net profit. After all expenses, there is so much profit being used that if we all choose to work together, Okay, and I like the way it was set up. I do agree wholeheartedly with the idea of taking 10% of your net profit and helping the people that are in trouble. Okay, that are having issues. Now, do understand something very important. When I'm talking about the poor, I'm not talking about just the people living on the street. I'm referring to what is called the working poor. The people that are those of you that are out there, you're working daily, you're putting in your hours, you're putting in your effort, and you're still barely able to make ends meet. Okay, it's these people that I look at, and that I look at a lot, because most people, the real poor people get a staggering amount of what I call lip service. Okay, you take a look at specifically, you look at many of the churches, and I don't mean the Christians, I mean the church organizations, not the individuals. Whoever's running the organizations, they're claiming to take care of the poor and the sick, and yet they lock the doors. Okay, the registered charities, the so-called nonprofit organizations, are making a staggering amount of profit, and yet most of the donations that go to them end up getting eaten by administration costs. Now, there is a problem with this in my eyes. Okay, it's a very big problem, because this is why people have to turn around. You gotta absolutely take care of yourself first, because if you don't take care of you and your own bills, okay, you're going to run into a massive problem, because you'll end up adding to the complication. Now, I'm very happy to say that right about now, I've still got a couple more checks coming in before the end of the month. And it looks like I'm going to end up breaking that goal I had for the 5th month running. Okay, to me, this is very important. Okay, it's a goal that I set for myself and has been working. Now, I do set my goal for what I bring in up every month, although where it comes to what it costs me to run my house and my business combined, because they're in the same place. When I look at that, okay, that hasn't risen. That I keep at a basic balance. So what I'm doing is actually building for my future. But I hit that $2,500 mark and go, okay, that's what I require to run my house. But my target for the month this month. Yeah, and you're just going to have to pause that for a second and get that. Now, it is very, from my standpoint, I've got my goal set at 3,400. But that being said, I'm taking 10% of that. If I hit that 10%, then I will add to that. And that's what I made last month. So that by the time that Christmas rolls around, I've got a lump sum that I can do a major, I call it a major donation or a major contribution or whatever. Because I have decided that one portion of what I'm putting together will go to a food bank. That way, even if the people working at the food bank take some of it home, it's still going to people that require it. Okay, because the working poor are more often than not really struggling to make ends meet and not getting a whole lot of help. Okay, they're just not getting the effort that they require, or the assistance they require, in spite of working really, really hard. Okay, now, from your standpoint, it's really important you take care of yourself. Do not put yourself on the street. Don't sell yourself short, because quite frankly, all you're going to do there is add to the burden anyway, and somebody else is going to have to come. And, somebody else is going to have to step in and help you as well. But this idea that I looked at some corporations that net profit are making $50 billion. Okay. Now, when you've got a company making that kind of profit, and it is all going into the bank, now don't get me wrong. People that invest in these companies deserve, if they're buying stocks, They absolutely should be paid their share in stocks. The funny part about it is that stock payment is part of the cost of running the business. So when I'm talking net profit, I'm talking what comes out at what is left after those stock dividends are paid for. In the Christian faith, they talk. There is a commandment there that says, thou shalt have no other god before me. Well, here's the silly part. Mankind seems to have taken this thing called gold and turned it into a god. Okay, that is the be-all and end-all in way too many people's cases. Now, I've got no problem with having a materialistic outlook from the standpoint of, I desire the best of the best. I desire to have the finer things in life. You've worked hard, you deserve it. Okay, I have a problem with people going, money is more important than people. Because in all fairness, if money were more important than all people, what are you going to do with money if all of the people go away and all you've got is whatever you've got in the way of a mound of money or a mound of stuff? If there's nobody to share it with, you're going to run into snags. Okay, I see it all the time in my line of work, where people have put materialistic stuff ahead of the home. Okay, or they put the materialistic stuff ahead of their employees. And when you do that, it creates an interesting problem. You don't get the support that you're looking for. And then all of that money all of a sudden doesn't seem to mean a lot. Now, it takes some people a lot longer to get to that point than others. Now, that said, I'm going to look at the hospitality industry for half a second here. If you're running anything to do with customer service, okay, really, the hospitality industry, your phone line, the people that work on the phone lines, the people that work in the in the call centers, people that work in anything that deals with customer service. When you as an employer are paying these people less than what they require to survive, you're going to have a turnover. Now, I saw it put one day, and it's just something to think about if you happen to run your own restaurant. Okay, I saw this idea. I was talking to somebody, and they came up with a brilliant idea. If you've got a small menu, okay, right now your employees are working now. First and foremost, never, ever, ever utilize their estimated tips as a wage, as a wage supplement. Make sure whatever you're paying them by the hour is enough for them to actually work for you. It is recommended, that you gauge it out that they can earn whatever you're paying them by the hour, that they can earn their living on 30 hours a week. Okay, but here's a neat little trick to get to work a little better. You never use the tips. But if you turn around and you go, okay, I'm going to take a look at what comes in, and you tag a $50 bill up on the counter, or on the wall, or you just put it aside and you tell the staff, whoever sells one of everything in the menu gets that extra $50 bonus. Now, we're not talking about tax deduction. We're talking about investing in your staff. Okay, because when you start doing that, yes, you're making it into a competition, a little bit of a contest between them, which is fine. Competition is not a bad thing, but what you're doing is you're getting them to really focus on spreading out what you're actually producing. Now, they push harder to sell the stuff. Okay, you end up making profit because they're selling more stuff. And at the end of the day, if one of them, and all you do is you go, not everybody, but the first one to sell one of everything, okay, is the one that gets that tag. Now, you can do the same thing if you've got a large menu. Just check off a dozen things and go, the first one to sell one of each of these gets this extra bonus. Depending on what the price is in your restaurant, If you're selling things at $65 a plate, and I've been in restaurants like that. Matter of fact, I was in one restaurant and the service was fantastic. But for me and one other person, when we only had one drink apiece, for that bill to run us $300. The food was great, the whole thing was great. But when you've got a service line like that, a $20 bonus is very minimal. It won't have the same impact. Okay. So you take that bonus and make it commensurate. If you're working fast food, okay, then putting a $20 in cash bonus at the end of the day is actually a viable option. But take a look at it. It's just an idea of how to get a little bit more focus. But what happens is the staff stops working for just the wage and they start working for the bonus. They're working for that extra thing at the end of the day. If you're currently paying your staff less than what they can afford to live on, really take a look at what you're paying them hourly. And really take a look at that side of it and adjust the wage accordingly. Now, I know of one company years ago that I dealt with that when I dropped this in their lap, they were paying less than 2/3 of what the person and of what their staff required to live on. Okay, so they literally had to increase their wage. Well, they jumped the wage from $9 an hour to $15 an hour in 1 month because they just brought everybody up. The other thing to keep in mind for any employer, there is a cost of living that happens. A cost of living increase that happens every year, and I understand that causes problems for the businesses. But what the businesses seem to overlook in many, many, many cases is that if you're not giving your staff at least a raise to balance, to bring that up as well. So let's say your cost of living is 3%. If you're not giving your staff an automatic 3% wage raise at that time, so they can stay with the cost of living, what you're actually doing is you're giving them a pay cut, because the amount of food and the amount of stuff that the paycheck covers drops by a commensurate amount. Okay, the other thing that you have to look at, and this is where businesses also make a miscalculation. When the minimum wage goes up, if all you're doing is raising the people on minimum wage up to the new minimum wage, anybody that's already over that is getting a pay cut. Okay, you're penalizing the staff for staying with you, and you will get people leaving because of it. To me, this is just simple, basic logic. If you don't pay the staff an honest day's wage, for an honest day's work, if you're not paying them, they're not going to stay. Now, you will get some people that stay in their business because that's all they've got. That's all they know how to do. Okay, so yeah, you've got them over a barrel. Okay, this does not make it right. Okay, so when you're looking at the material side of things, you have to take care of you first. Okay, if you're not meeting your own bills, and this also, like I said, it also means bringing in enough money that you can reach over that, okay, and make some headway yourself. Then you're doing things a little backwards. The idea is, if you're going to help other people, make sure you help yourself, at the same time. This is why when I work out that 10% of everything over 25, I break it into 12 sections. 1/12 will go to me. 1/12, because I'm paying me first. 1/12 will go to a food bank, but it'll go in the form of groceries, not in the form of cash. If I see somebody on the street that's asking for money, I will literally, if I'm going into a grocery store, I won't come out and give them change. I will come out and give them food. Okay, because that way I know where their money is going. It's up to them what they do with it, absolutely. Okay, but I refuse to myself throwing money, into a situation that's just going the wrong direction for them and is not helping them, isn't going to do them any good anyway. Okay, which is one of the primary reasons why I do not look at registered charities as far as where I'm going to donate my money. Okay, I just don't do it because the overhead that they spend. When I help people out, I don't look at it as a tax break or as a tax write-off. Okay, I look at it as this is money I've got that I can contribute. Okay, with no penalty, with no benefit to me aside from knowing I helped them. Now, does this make me better than anybody else? Not at all. Okay, but it's time that everybody, not just the homeowners, it's funny. The poor people, the working poor, are more than ready to help, in most cases, more than ready to help the people around them. The wealthy seem to be the ones that hang on to their money more and more. And the more money they have, the more they seem to hang on to it. Now, I know there are some wealthy people out there that do contribute staggering amounts to other people. Okay. This is not a question of everybody that has money has a problem in this department. So, as I've told people before, absolutely, if what I am saying applies to you, or if it hits here, take it to heart. If it does not apply to you, do not take it to heart. And whatever you do, don't drop me lines that say, "Oh, you're just picking on everybody." Well, I am. Okay, but I'm only picking on the everybody that it applies to. Subtlety has never been my strong suit. Okay, this is why I tell people, do not talk to me about what is politically correct, because the odds are I missed it. At least for me personally. But when you're looking at the finances are the backbone of any home, of any house, of any business. Okay, and like I said, churches, they are a business. Politics is a business. Like it or not, health is a business. This is the way that modern society is looking at things. And if you're looking at it going, well, they should be doing it this way. Things should be happening in a different fashion. Well, they probably should. The system is very badly broken. Okay, the educational system is turning out people that cannot function in modern society. And many parents are doing exactly the same thing. They're taking care of the kids, which is a great thing. But part of taking care of them is making certain that they are capable of doing things for themselves once you're gone. Because once you're gone, you pretty much are hooped as far as helping them. And rest assured, throwing money at people without some sort of guidance is a massive problem. Because if they don't know how to handle it, it's not going to do much good. My understanding is that when you're looking at the lottery winners, most of them are within 3 years of winning a lottery. Most of them are in worse shape than they were in when they got the win in the first place. Boy, that came out poorly. By the way, if you do like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and absolutely please share it with everybody you can. Take the concepts and share them with the people that you run into. Okay, this message is for everyone in existence, not just the people that have technology. Because rest assured, most poor people don't have technology. Okay, even the working poor are quite often limited. But the finance is not the root of all evil. Clearly, it's not the root of all evil, which is what a lot of the religious sects actually tell people. Money is a bad thing. But the problem is, I was looking up a piece of information today, and apparently, when you take a look at all the religions around the world, okay, Christianity has, according to Google, Christianity has about 55% of the world's wealth. Okay. I think the Jewish community only has about 1% of it, which kind of paints an interesting picture, especially when you look at the information that's out there about the way the Jewish community is with money. Well, if that were the case, wouldn't they be the ones that had the 55%? Okay, and you can look this up on the internet yourself. Okay, this is why I say don't take my word for it. Check your own sources. But I just look at the reason I got looking at it is because I wanted to see where money was sitting. I desired to find out where money was sitting, where we were having a problem, because there are way too many poor people on the street that many people are saying, oh, we're doing what we can to help them. That is, well, frankly, wrong. What can be done to help them is not. One of the obvious issues is when you look at your drug addicts. Now, I don't have anything against drug addicts. I've known people over the years that were very badly taken up by them. But what I do have a problem with is if the government is going to give drug addicts free drugs, free narcotics that are illegal, then why are they not giving free drugs to people like cancer patients, diabetics, people that are suffering mental illness, that are suffering true mental illness, not the normal narcissistic way of, oh, woe is me, the world doesn't revolve around me right now, so I feel bad. That's not, technically it's a mental illness, but it's very important. It's very important from your standpoint that you realize that people require an absolute assistance. And working together, we can make this a better world for most people. But it's going to require everybody's help. And to that end, am I asking for you to join me on this journey? To pitch in and help turn the energy of this society around so it doesn't continue on its downhill slide? You bet I am. Okay. I'm looking at things on a very broad level right now. And there are major changes that have to happen, and they're not going to happen by wishful thinking. It's just simply an issue of we have to work together. Now, on that note, I'm going to bring this to a close. I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.